ラオケですね。カラオケやって、それから今度は見ないで別の動画でやりと思ってます。今日は見ながらやります。見ながらやることによって正確性を高めるっていう目的で、それでは始めていきましょう。いきます。 Thank you. I'm honored to be with today for your commencement one of the finest universities in the world. Truth be told, I never graduated from college, and this is the closest I've ever gotten to the college graduation. Today, I want to tell you 3 stories from my life. That's it, no big deal. Just 3 stories. The first story is about connecting the dots. I dropped out of real college after the first 6 months, but stayed around as a drop-in. When I was 18 months or so, we already quit. So why did I drop out? It started before I was born. My biological mother was a young unwed graduate student. She decided to put me up for adoption. She felt very strongly that I should be adopted by college graduates. So everything was all set for me to be adopted at birth by a lawyer and his wife. Except that when I popped up, they decided last minute they didn't want a girl. So my parents, who were my weddings, got a call in the middle of the night asking, "We got an unexpected baby boy. Do you want him?" They said, "Of course." My biological mother found out later my mother had never graduated from college, and my father had never graduated from high school. She refused to sign my adoption paper. She only relented a few months later. My parents promised that I would go to college. This was a start in my life. And 17 years later, I did go to college. But I naively chose a college that was almost as expensive as Stanford. All of my working class parents' savings were being spent on my college tuition. After 6 months, I couldn't see the value in it. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, and no idea how college was going to help me figure it out. Here I was, spending all the money my parents had saved their entire life. So I decided to drop out and trust that it would all work out okay. It was pretty scary at the time, but looking back, it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. The minute I dropped out, I could stop taking the required classes that didn't interest me, begin dropping on the ones that looked far more interesting. It wasn't all romantic. I didn't have a dorm. I slept on the floor in friend's room. I returned cocktail flights and deposits to buy food with. I walked 7 miles across town every Sunday night to get 1 good meal a week at Hare Krishna temple. I loved it. Much of what I stumbled into by following my curiosity and intuition turned out to be priceless later on. Let me give you one example. Ray College at the time offered perhaps the best curriculum instruction in the country. Throughout the campus, every poster, every label on every drawer was beautifully hand calligraphed. Because I had to drop out, didn't have to take the normal classes. I decided to take a calligraphy class to learn how to do this. I learned about serif and sans serif typefaces, about bearings amount of space between different letter combinations, about what makes great typography great. It was beautiful, historical, artistically subtle in ways that science can't capture. I found it fascinating. None of this had even hope any practical application in my life. But 10 years later, when we were designing the first Macintosh computer, it all came back to me. We designed it all into the Mac, the first computer with beautiful typography. If I never dropped in on the same course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportional space fonts. And since Windows just copies the Mac, it's likely most personal computer would have them. If I had never dropped out, I would never drop in on that career class, and personal computers might not have the wonderful typography that they do. Of course, it is impossible to connect the dots looking forward, and as in college. But it was very, very clear looking backwards 10 years later. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. can connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that dots will somehow connecting your future. You have to trust in something. Your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing the dots will connect down the road. It will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even it lead you off the very wrong path. And that will make all the difference. ということで、シャドーイングやってみました。